operationally define what growth means relevant to you. So growth can mean top line revenue growth. Growth can mean margin, profitability. Growth can mean market expansion. I can go on, can't I? It's defined in management terms in multiple ways, but those three are probably a good catch. What we wanted to explore with you today was a bit of, let's take a look at growth that you need to drive within your business and your work, and how you do that within the environment or the network of folks that you have together serving the clients. And so we wanted to say, part of that may be exactly what you were saying, a reconnecting or an approach or a mindset in how to approach this, similar to where you guys went. I wanted to introduce this story about Microsoft and how it did it. Maybe there'd be something in there for you. So when Satya Nadella took the realm of Microsoft in 2014, and if you have any occasion to watch a TED Talk or even read his book, Refresh, you may enjoy, if nothing else, the musing of an amazing leader who is bringing that business's personal humanity into the work environment, which is a highly productive, fast, driving organization in the way it's been to change and revolutionize the work, but also it's a big company and needed to refresh. And so I wanted to share the story, and I have some firsthand examples of it. In this idea of growth, one of the things that I saw in firsthand account in Microsoft was two metrics for success for an individual were there and long-standing. One was hit your targets. How did you do to hit your targets? And I bet you feel that, and those growth targets are established. Did you hit them? And the second metrics would have been, did you just focus relentlessly on the customer and customer satisfaction? Those two things just drove left and right. Well, Satya brought in a third dimension that then became tangible and real, that every year became a reflection point of how well you did and your performance depended on it. How well did you help others succeed? So sit with that for a minute. He was attempting to change, and he was leveraging on Dr. Carol Dweck's research of growth mindset, to which you should have been introduced to in the pre-read. And it was a video. And so fascinated by that, and everyone was issued the book and growth mindset, this ability to focus in on not yet and to continue to grow. This adding of this metric of success, how did you help others succeed, was an attempt, and successful, to change the conversations and change the interactions. And what it started to do was say, should we look at the process by which we interact? Should we engage for different purposes? Should I pause long enough to see what has worked and what has not worked in the past, such that we can carve new ways? And it was fascinating to watch how that changed the conversations, both from who was invited to meetings, it expanded, so there's good and bad to it, to how you showed up. So there's a mindset play with growth that we wanted to play out with you. There's another piece. If you agree that this idea of growth could benefit from looking at it a new way, refreshing, rather than putting it in the problem bucket of, this has been a challenge, let's figure out how to solve it, but instead, how might we show up differently? Are there materials we would bring to the table? Are there interactions we would do differently? So the 6M starts to play. Are there processes that we could incorporate just in our own interactions, which is what he essentially did by adding that metric? How did you help others succeed? It slowed down. It created breath in a very fast-paced culture where self-serving can easily fit in as you move towards your metrics. So the question we wanted to explore with you in growth in the beginning is, can you let some air in differently? Are there things that can be done as you approach both the way you engage in this idea of growth and what that looks like, and how you enable others, as in the Microsoft example, to show up differently and be invested in the success? By extension, you invested in theirs. So what we're trying to play out on this is, would that make a difference for you, and would that show up differently? If we also couple that with what we just talked about in the 6Ms, does that mean that how we interact, the methods we use, the content, the stories we bring to bear, would they change? And so if you agree, number one, I can adopt a bit of a growth mindset on this and start to tweak and enjoy the process of interaction and do it slightly different than I have before. And step two, why don't I pick one or two of the branches? Change up my method, the way I've done it before. Increase or get front and center with materials like I've never before. That's the argument. For what it's worth, what I'd say to you is, for me, what I've adopted is I believe that the intention is always good. That the intention in another is good. We do want to create abundance for all. It's the attention that I'm fighting for, moment by moment. And the way I show up in those interactions and what I bring to the table then changes, both in my stance and in my tone. The intention is good. Your fight is for the attention, moment by moment. And if by shifting that, growth and abundance happens for all, then one TD is going to market with the way you intended strategically. And what you're being asked to focus on is simply the mechanics. The mechanics you control. Is that fair?